This is Matt Quistor for Crazy Mo Guitar. We're in video 3 of the new cat. Today you're going to learn about the main 6 chords in this key of G major. Time to buckle up, put on your cowboy or cowgirl hat, and let's get busy. Okay, this video is all about chords. So hopefully you won't feel like this is information overload on these patterns, but at this point you've had a full scale, you have the exercise from the first video, you've been strumming, you've been switching a couple patterns. The E minor chord will be part of what we're talking about today, so it shouldn't be too bad as long as you just focus on the visuals. You want to try to get these patterns memorized as soon as you can. The very first chord, we saw the G major from video 1, which was just a one finger. Now it's going to be not one finger. So we're going to keep the third finger where it's at. I'm actually going to start off with the second finger. So the second finger is on the 3rd fret on low E string. All right, the first finger is on the 2nd fret on the A string. So those are my 2 lower fingers. And now we're going to try to sneak that 3rd finger back to where you've seen it from the other videos. So we built off of this one finger, we add the lower 2 fingers now. It becomes a full 6-string chord. So once you have the fingers down, you give it a big strum. Now that you're doing full chords, this is our first 3-finger chord, your thumb might be like, what's going on, man? So don't be afraid to adjust the left hand. I very highly recommend that you have a guitar strap at this point, so you can kind of move the guitar up and down, in and out, try to finagle it where it feels somewhat comfortable. This chord will be a little bit of a stretch for some people. That's your shape right there. That's a full G major chord. You can now play about 15 albums worth of Bob Dylan songs. Okay, so that's G. Now the next chord we're going to do is A minor, brand new chord. First finger is on the 1st fret on my B string. And as a short interlude here, if you're not sure the names of the strings, it's every angry dog gets bitten eventually. E, A, D, G, B, E. You'll never forget that. And it's probably not proper English, but it's cool. That's what counts. So the A minor, first finger, 1st fret on my B string, my 2nd string. The 2nd finger goes on the 2nd fret on the D string, right there. So I have a string in between those 2 fingers right now. And then the 3rd finger is right underneath the 2nd finger on the G string. So with that being said, whenever you have a finger that's right underneath another, the one that's on top, you might just slide over a little bit to make room for that bottom finger. So we're close to the fret water, but that's okay. You don't have to be in the center of the fret for chords. You can see my first finger is not way over here either. I'm kind of moving that towards the wire to give myself a little more reach. Once you have that chord down, and this one's very important to have that gap, again, in the palm and the bottom of the neck. Once that chord is down, you're going to strum 5 strings. We're skipping the low E string. Just the 5 there. That is your A minor chord. And with 3-finger chords, the pressure might feel kind of weird. You're going to be feeling like you're pushing, but sometimes not every finger is going to be pushing with the same amount of pressure as another. So if you want to check your chords, you give it a strum and you're like, well, it sounds cool, but maybe something's goofy. You can take the right hand and just pick the strings individually that are in that chord. So if I mess up a note here, like, oh, okay, I didn't get that 2nd string, my B string. Oh, look at my 3rd finger's hitting it. Okay, I arch it up, and there it is. And you'll be surprised, the slightest movement in the left hand will change the sound of a string. So it's pretty intricate. That's your A minor. So we had the G major, which was this. There's that shape right there. Then we had A minor. As you're learning these chords in this video, go back and review the previous chord, which is what I'm going to walk you through. So I went back to G, just to remind myself to visualize, hey, there's G. It's still kind of fresh in my mind. All right, here's the A minor. And obviously when you're switching chords, it's going to be one finger at a time. But don't worry about that. Just try to get the shape. So that's A minor. So don't be afraid to go back and forth between G and A minor until you feel like you really have them down. The third chord is B minor. This is going to be your first 4-finger chord. We're starting on the 2nd fret on the high E string with the first finger. This one has a little bit of a diagonal shape to it. And then our 2nd finger is going to go on the 3rd fret on the B string, the 2nd string. So you have those two right there. This is the weird part. The 3rd finger is going to shoot up to the 4th fret on the D string. So I'm skipping over that G, going to the D string. And as you can see right now, my 1st and 2nd finger are way over, almost touching, I mean they are touching the wire. That's giving my 3rd finger more room. If I stretch over here, it starts pulling on the 3rd finger. And that one gets out of the fret box, and then I'm not going to be a happy camper. It's going to sound like a... Alright, so we go back over here. There's my shape so far. And the pinky is going to be right underneath the 3rd finger. It's on the 4th fret on the G string. Again, you have that stacked finger, so my 3rd finger is kind of over a little bit, making room for the pinky. And this one's only a 4-string chord, so I'm going to skip the low E and the A and only strum from the D string down. Once again, now I go back to my G chord. Let's review that one. There's G. Here's A minor. Here's B minor. Okay, that's a pretty big chord. That's definitely one of the tougher ones here. The next chord is C major. This one starts off with the 1st finger on the 1st fret on the B string. Then we have our 2nd finger on the D string, 2nd fret. So again, we're skipping a string. There's the G string in between both of those fingers. I have my 1st finger pretty close to the wire, making room. And then my 3rd finger, this is the stretch chord. All the way here to the 3rd fret on the A string. So it's like a lightning bolt looking thing. It's a 5-string chord, so I'm only going to strum from the A string down. I'm trying to use a lot of the string names in the descriptions here, because you want to get your string names down. Every angry dog gets bitten eventually. When you end up breaking a string and you go into a music store, they'll appreciate that you know what your string name is called. Okay, so that's the C chord. That one you'll definitely feel a stretch, and again, with a strap on the guitar, I can kind of finagle. I can swing it out more, whatever I have to do. The more you swing it out, the more you can drop your wrist down. If you find that your fingers are really hitting the strings a lot and you got to get them up, don't pull it in, swing it out and drop your wrist. The one mistake a lot of people make is they pull the guitar in to C more, or they angle it, and it ends up putting your wrist at a horrible spot. So you shouldn't have to feel like you got to look over and watch everything. You know, or if you do, get the pattern down, then swing it out and let your hand get used to feeling that more relaxed position where it's not just crunched up. So that's the C chords. Let's go back to G. Here's G major again. Here's A minor. Here's B minor. And now the C major. Alright, the next chord, chord number 5, is a D major chord. So this one, I'm going to start off with my 1st finger. It's on the 2nd fret on the G string, right there. And my 2nd finger is on the 2nd fret on the high E. So they have, once again, a string in between those two fingers, both on the same fret, which is kind of cool. And my 3rd finger is going to be on the 3rd fret on the B string. This one's a nightmare to get the high E string note to ring. You usually get like a clunk out of it. So when you're trying to get this chord clean, make sure you really try dropping the thumb down if you have to. Swing the guitar out. Try a few different things to try to get that 3rd finger to arch up, so it's not hitting the high E string. This one's only a 4-string chord, just like the B minor was. So we're skipping the E and the A and just doing it from the D string down. Okay, so the chords we have so far: G, A minor, B minor, C major, and D major. Okay, and our last chord, well, you already know that one. It's E minor. Yay! Kept the easiest chord for last. So it ends with E minor, which is kind of nice. So that gives us G major, A minor, B minor, C major, D major, and E minor. And that's your main 6 chords in this key of G major. Alright, that's the end of video 3. You're officially past the point of no return in our 5-video series. So, now you have some full chords. These are called open chords. Cowboy chords is a slang name. So you've seen 6 big chords that you can practice. You can play them in any order. Try to memorize them, visualize. If you have to go online to look for a chord chart, you can, but I very highly recommend that you don't. Try to learn it from the video and from my description, and spend more time watching the left hand and playing than reading off a paper. As usual, subscribe. A lot of cool stuff coming. We have 2 more videos in the series, which, remember, at the end of the 5 series, you'll be in a position to start getting into bar chords. So nothing here is busy work. Everything is going to be used and applied. All right, so Matt Quistorf for Crazy Mo Guitar. Till next time. See ya.